We'll go ahead and be prompt. We've got a pretty long agenda for tonight, so I want to try to make it fast and efficient for everyone. So we'll start off. This is the Design Review Board. It's a regular Design Review Board meeting of the City of Milton. I'm Ken Warlick. This is a 7-member board appointed by the City of Milton Mayor and City Council, created for the purpose of holding public hearings and making recommendations. The Design Review Board reviews plans and makes recommendations to the Community Development Director for the developments except single-family residential in the form-based code and overlay districts. In addition, the Design Review Board approves or denies demolition requests and makes recommendations to the Board of Zoning of Appeals on variances. So I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order, and I'd like to ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you very much. So first off, I'd like to start with the introduction of our staff and our board members.
Rima Abdel Fattah, City Staff.
Shubha Jangam, Principal Planner.
Michael Cardiman, Senior Planner.
Samia Coker, Cheltenham Walk.
Ken Warlick, Hipworth Road.
David Jackson, Bethany Way.
Danielle Gagne, Morning Mountain Way. And Danella, Haybridge Lane.
All right, great. So next on the agenda is going to be the election of chair and vice chair. Since we do not have all members present tonight, I would like to make a motion to move that election for the chair and vice chair to our May Design Review Board agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye, it's unanimous. Great. All right, so next we're going to move on to approval and amendment of the agenda for tonight. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Okay. So next I will call for a motion for the approval of the meeting minutes, from February 4th, 2025 for the Design Review Board.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from February 4th DRB meeting. I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All right. So moving on. First off, we're going to start with demolition of structures. Tonight, let's see, 6A, 13805 Hopewell Road. Rima, if you will give us some background information on this one.
Great. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so applicant is Mr. Scott Reese. The request is to demolish an existing house, carport, well building, and concrete driveway. The site is 1.155 acres in the AG1 district, residential, and the home was built in 1960. Here's an aerial view right off of Hopewell Road. Site plan, you can see the structures to be demolished, including the concrete driveway. Here's some photos of the home. This is the carport. Criteria for approving a demolition permit, which you're all pretty familiar with. So we'll move past this slide pretty quickly. We recommend approval of the demolition for the site plan. This property is not listed in the Georgia Historic Resources or Milton Historic Survey list. So the structures have no historic, scenic, or architectural significance. The applicant will submit a complete demolition permit application online. And then any disturbed and exposed soil will be leveled and permanently grassed. Any questions? Nope.
Thank you, Rima.
Okay.
No questions for the staff. Scott, great to see you again.
As always. Glad to be here. Getting over the flu, touch and go last week. So this is a 1960, less than 1,500 square feet residence that's been abandoned for at least 10 years. Great disrepair. There's really no form and or fashion, this could be rehabbed and reused. So, Mr. Batiste in the audience is, going to be constructing a new house on the site. We need to remove the existing, structure there. There is no historical, cultural, architectural, there's really nothing there to try to save. So that being said, we will, try to answer any questions that you, might have. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? I don't disagree with you, Scott. I drive by that just about every day and can barely see it from the overgrowth, so. Okay. Seeing no more questions, I will call for a public comment.
We have none.
We have none. I will, anyone in the audience have anything? Speak up? No? All right, I'll close public comment and open it up for any board discussion. No? All right, seeing none, I will call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the demolition of 6A 13805 Hopewell Road.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Thank you, Scott. Glad you're feeling better. All right, so moving on, we'll stay with demolition. We'll do 6B 13595 Hopewell Road.
Okay, applicant Steve Powell. The request is to demolish the existing house, retaining walls and pool. The site is 5.15 acres in the AG1 zoning district. It's residential. The home was built in 2003 and the pool was built in 2005. This is the aerial view of the property. This is the site plan. I've highlighted the structures to be demolished. Here are some pictures of the home. You can see the retaining walls in these pictures here. So criteria for approving a demolition permit, again, we all know what the criteria is, so we'll move past this slide. We recommend approval of this demolition per the site plan. The property is not listed in Georgia Historic Resources or Milton Historic Survey list. So the structures have no historic, scenic, or architectural significance. The applicant will submit a complete demolition permit application online, and any disturbed and exposed soils will be leveled and permanently grassed. Any questions?
Any questions for staff? No? Thank you. Can we ask the applicant to come forward? Scott, great to see you again.
I know. Short time no see. So I'm representing Mr. Powell in their application to demolish the house there on Hopewell Road. We originally did the site plan in 1998 and helped the individuals that were constructing this house. This house is kind of significant for me because it is the first time that I've realized that homeowners should not be able to build their own house. So this is a knockoff of a Frank Lloyd Wright design, and it's nothing but radiuses. And they were California imports, and they decided that they had watched a couple of TV shows and they were going to build this, spectacular architectural design. And they decided they were going to use this new material called Hippelblock from Germany that we had to spend a long time trying to get it approved because it was not an accepted product at the time, with good reason, because it had not been thoroughly tested. So I really don't know if they ever got a CO into the house because everything was an afterthought for inspections. I mean, it was an abortion, plain and simple, from start to finish. And it has been vacant for years and falling in, and it just needs to be taken down before somebody walks in there and gets killed. So that's my synopsis on the house. If you have any questions, I could probably write you a novel, but that being said, I think you've seen the pictures and what's there, and it's beyond. So, like I said, any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer those. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. I honestly thought by looking at the site plan that it was, the entire thing was the pool. And then realized after reviewing the packet, looking at the photos, that no, there was actually a home there. So, okay. Thank you, Scott. Any questions for Scott? No? Okay. Seeing none, I will open up for any public comment.
We have none.
All right, I will close public comment. Any board discussion? It's too bad because that could have been a cool project, you know? One too many HGTV. Okay. All right. Seeing no further discussion from the board, can we get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve item 6B, 13595 Hopewell Road demolition.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion for approval and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. We'll stay with demolitions as well. It's 6C 2095 Mountain Road.
Okay, 2095 Mountain Road. Applicant is Mr. Nathaniel Folsom. The request is to demolish a three-sided pole barn. The site is 2.080 acres, zoned in the AG1 district. Existing use is residential, and the pole barn was built in 1992. This is just an aerial view. This is the site plan. I've circled in red the barn to be demolished on the lot. Here's some pictures. Okay, basic criteria for approving the demolition permit. And staff recommends approval of the demolition per the site plan. Applicant will submit a complete demolition permit online, and then any disturbed and exposed soils will be leveled and permanently grassed. Any questions?
I have a question, Rima. But just the barn is being demolished, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for staff? Oh, thank you. Can we ask the applicant to come forward, please?
Hey, I'm Nate Folsom, and that's, as mentioned, the 2095 Mountain Road address, and we're just demoing the barn because the house is going to sit further back up, and just want to be in code with what's going on. And like she mentioned, built in 92, it was my uncle's barn. It only housed some, like a tractor and a couple other small things, no electrical, nothing like that. Never was, had any kind of insulation or anything like that. So it's real simple.
Okay,
That's really it.
thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Any questions for the applicant? No? Okay. All right, thank you. I'll open up for public comment.
We have none.
None. All right, seeing none, I will close public comment. Any board discussion? No? All right, I'll call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve 6C 2095 Mountain Road.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. All right, good luck. Thank you. All right, so moving on to our next phase, which is courtesy reviews. 7A, which is U25-01, 12900 Arnold Mill Road.
Okay, good evening, board members. Glad to be before you tonight to present a courtesy review for a use permit for a rural event facility. The applicant is requesting to utilize the existing and finishing up construction of a 23,000 square foot activity center for a maximum of 300 attendees for this event facility. So let's see, oh, it's not that, let's go this way. So this is located at the corner of Arnold Mill Road and Cox Road. It's Ebenezer Methodist Church with a small chapel at the apex of the corner. And you can see the outline under construction of the rooftop of the activity center. This is a site plan of the location, and you can see here's the new building, and here's detention here, and a stream buffer comes through the back, and there's plenty of parking for all. Like do that way. This is another aerial. So as I stated, it is getting ready to get their CO. Beautiful building. This is the view from Arnold Mill Road. You all had reviewed the actual building permit when it came for approval of the design. So you get to see it in person. Here is the plaza looking toward, it's in the amphitheater area. And this is a view of the outdoor pavilion kind of coming from the older chapel. And this is, I believe, on the north side of the oh, no, this is the west side of the property. No, I'm wrong. There's lots of parking. It's whatever. It's the side of the building. It doesn't matter which side. The west. I said the west. Another elevation of the west. This is the porch looking towards Cox Road. Couple interior photos of, you can see it's still some final touches being made. This is the main activity center, main area. This is a side space adjacent to the main area with the beautiful stone fireplace. And with that, I will be happy to answer any questions. Basically, this is just a courtesy review. Obviously, the building's already done, but just per the code, it requires for you all to review it prior to going to Planning Commission. But I'm happy to answer any questions. And the applicant is here as well. He has a presentation as well.
Thank you, Robin.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any questions for Robin? No? Okay. All right, seeing none, we'll ask the applicant to come up, and if you have anything to add to that.
Good. Are you seeing the, swear I didn't turn that off, Robin. Are you seeing the PowerPoint?
We are, yes, sir.
Okay. My name is Michael McGuire. Let me just introduce myself real quick. I am a member of this church and the chair of the trustees, and have been asked to take us through this process. Robin's been great to work with and guide me through this. She knows what she's doing and knows that code book well. When this thing was originally approved by you guys and then by the council and everything, this is what we should have asked for in terms of a use permit to begin with, because the uses that we're looking for were always going to be this. So this is coming back through because the group that brought it through the first time didn't quite understand exactly what was going. So I won't take a lot of your time and deference for the lot of agenda you've got here, but this is the little white church on the corner that everybody's known. It has been in existence since 1853. The new center is actually called, its official name is the Pardue Family Foundation Center. I'm just going to call it the Pardue Center because that's a mouthful going forward. The truth is that Mr. Pardue was a member of this church for, or maybe 70 years, bequeathed a bunch of money to the church. His son took it from there, created this foundation, and built this building and everything you see about it. So therefore, it's clearly there. Our mission is not changing. I just want to make that real clear. It is to know the love of God grow as disciples of his son, Jesus Christ, and to go share that love with others. And the second piece of that is really important to why this whole facility was even brought to you to begin with. It is to bless the surrounding community by not only hosting Christian-based worship service, but other various community events. And that can be from weddings to plays to concerts to other activities, where there be fall specials or whatever. This is truly is designed as an event center. I won't spend much time on this site plan because Robin's already done it and she's laid it out. And the one thing I want to make sure you are aware is that not only is it there's this 2-story, 23,000 square foot event center here. I got a few other pictures than she had, but this pavilion is 3,000 square feet, almost 3,500. Many weddings, many activities, many plays or whatever can happen because of this amphitheater that was built here. I do want to point out all of this that you saw here. This is fire access only. There's no access off of Arnold Mill. It all comes off of Cox, and the bulk of it will happen in this entrance here, certainly from an exit standpoint because of the distance to the end. I wanted to show you a couple of quick just interior layouts, and I'll show you some photos. If you haven't been there, please come. We're at a point where you have to come on a hard hat tour because we won't have our CO yet. We don't want to foul that up with the fire marshal, but just quickly, so when we get this open and we get it furnished, you'll enter on this side. This is Arnold Mill over here, and we'll have this very welcoming, soft seating. It'll have some walls here. That'll be a welcoming area. This is a warming kitchen and an elevator and basically a coffee shop. And I'll come back to that. This is this beautiful boardroom that Robin showed. And then we've got these 2 giant outdoor porches. As Robin said, this facility will hold up to 300. Now, this is set up showing you with tables, but imagine 300 people and our chairs set up in pews kind of sections. And then this stage is big enough to house any plays or any small concerts or that sort of thing. And I will challenge anyone when they come here and let us show you the sound and light show will rival North Point. It's truly unbelievable what this family did in this facility. It's going to be a great community building for everybody. Downstairs, it's just a lot of sort of business function and that sort of thing. This is connected to the big parking lot you saw. We'll have this nice reception area, classrooms for various and sundry things, nurseries, youth facility here. This is a very flexible room. And probably as most important of this is all of this area is a full-fledged, full commercial kitchen. I put Gracious Gatherings on here for one simple reason. If you came to our church, if you've ever been to Ebenezer, most people that are in that little kitchen or in there are 75 and older. We're not going to be cooking in this kitchen. That's not going to happen. And so what we did was we went out and researched and found a company called Gracious Gatherings. It's our third-party caterer who will run their business from the center and then serve us. And so I put this here to say to this is Chef Paul down here in the bottom right-hand corner. He probably doesn't know I did that picture of him, but does everything from corporate events to weddings to business. Anything the city would want to do here, they could do here. It's fun because the other night, Robin and I had the neighborhood meeting here, and I got to meet the lady who's in charge of oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, the Arts Council, and she's completely jacked up because they need a place to do their thing. And this is the place. This can happen here. Just a couple other pictures. The point I put it here, and I'm glad Robin had the same pictures. This is the connection from the little white church on the corner. You go past this pavilion before you get to the barn, which is turned into this event center. And this is a real view of it. And I'm standing down on the amphitheater looking back at it. And the concrete seats here, those are seats and they're lighting there, et cetera. And then inside, this is a 30 by 70 pavilion. So you can imagine a lot can happen in this thing. There'll be a bunch of soft seating here in the back surrounding this fireplace. That's a real fireplace. The event hall. I'm standing at the sound booth. You can tell that this thing it's beautiful. It's huge. It can accommodate just about anything this community wants to do. And we look forward to doing that. And so I'm here to tell you that we're really, really excited. It was a huge mistake on our part to not come for this particular zoning. Get it right, rural event center, because that's always what this was intended to be, was an event center for the community, for our church, other churches, whatever we can imagine it here. That's all I got to say. And thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Comments?
Do they need to look at the surrounding neighbors for this?
We,
Let's see, there is.
That's usually one of the questions we ask when people.
Robin provided us with a list of somewhere between 80 and 100, and letters have gone to all of them.
Okay.
We've met with our neighbors, and the city is a neighbor.
Right.
Obviously, we own the cemetery. We've met with the golf folks. Everybody knows what we're doing around us. And then because of the city's requirements, we've gone much further than that, whatever it is, 1,000 feet,
Mhm.
and notified everybody. We're holding a meeting on the 13th at the church
Mhm.
with boards to let everybody come and see it and ask questions. And we're kind of hopeful we'd get our CO by then. I'm not sure we're going to make it and actually give tours of the facility. But the neighbors know.
Gotcha.
It's a lot of hard hats.
What was the initial use permit?
So the initial use permit was, there was a kind of cleaning up, that the church was so old, I don't think my remembrance was that there wasn't a use permit, but they had added acreages, to their original, legal description. And then they wanted to build this building. So, I mean, it was basically for a church, even though that church existed, but it existed before there was zoning. And then we kind of cleaned it all up, and they wanted to do the activity center. So that was more square footage that had to be included in, because, many churches have an activity center that they don't necessarily utilize outside of the confines of a typical church. So that's why it's called a rural event facility. So it's just two different kinds of icing on top of the cake, because the cake is the AG1 zoning underneath it. And the first use permit is the church, which does include that 23,000 square foot building, but now is another layer of icing, so to speak, to allow the allowance of an event facility or rural event facility. So that's why Mr. McGuire was alluding to, if it was thought out, they would have asked for both of the use permits at one time. So, yeah.
What other areas have rural event facility permits? in
I'm sorry,
Milton?
what?
What other,
So there's Little River
Locations.
Farms
Okay.
over at Batesville and Taylor Road. And then that's it for rural event facilities, but within the form-based codes, we have a couple of facilities here
Mhm.
in Crabapple that was approved with the use permit. So on the rooftop over here on Crabapple, and then some things, events, which is a small event facility up to 100 people that's on the second story of one of the buildings along Heritage Walk. So, but right now there's only two rural event facilities.
so the permit,
I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry, yes. It's Taylor Road and then this one, that's the only ones.
okay,
Yeah.
so the permit restricts it to 300 max?
Yes.
Is that, like, if the city was hosting something there, would they have to limit the number of people to 300?
So I think there is a limitation of the certificate of occupancy for the occupancy load, and maybe, is that correct? Is it higher than 300?
The project was originally designed and approved for, I'm gonna get this about right, 430. And we just, as part of this process, said we would limit this particular permit to 300. So if we needed to do something beyond that, we'd have to come back. But if the city wanted to do something there,
Right.
it is designed from a fire code perspective, and all that, to handle 400 plus people. And quite frankly, the kitchen can serve that.
Mhm. Okay.
The city would have to go through the same process.
No. But I think they alluded to, possibly partnering with the Arts Council and all that. So, but I can't imagine there'd be something with more than 300 people there, but that would all cover all those kind of events. Other than there is, restrictions on the time of operation, which is very, legitimate and nothing out of the ordinary. It's not a bar or anything open till 2 a.m. So that'll be some things that the Planning Commission will be discussing as far as making sure they're good with the times of operation and days of operation. So.
Is there a noise ordinance in that overlay?
So basically, they'll just have to conform to the general noise ordinance. That'll probably be another item if to discuss any kind of outdoor noise, whether there could be amplified sound, let's say in the amphitheater, or is it all just natural, unamplified? Those are kind of the topics that the Planning Commission will discuss as well. So, yeah. So typically when an item like this comes before you, you would look at the design, but since the cart's become before the horse, so to speak, then you don't really have to deal with that.
So is the amphitheater occupancy included in the event center, or does that have its own?
So, right. So even though the occupancy load is larger than what they're asking for, I think his point was like if there would be a one-off of if the city wanted to use it, or maybe they needed to ask for, we have what's called a special event permit, which is administrative permit for 2 times a year on each property. So let's say if they were going to have some huge shindig that exceeded the 300, then they would come and request for this special event permit that exceeded it. So, yeah.
Could this be utilized as if they were just using it as a church? It could be utilized as
Right. So, yeah. So
really
that's, I alluded
it's
to
just
it.
changing the name and the concept of what goes on inside the building, but
Right.
the number of people and all that could be the same no matter what. We're just changing the
Right, it's because they're utilizing it some of the time or most of the time as a third-party event facility, and that's not typically what a church does. Like, usually a church would use it for their own services or for a youth basketball, league, or, Wednesday night get together. So all that would have been okay and fine. And that's what was approved a few years ago. But because having this other use in addition to the traditional church type uses, that was the requirement for it.
So this is just asking for friends and family to be able to come and use it as well.
Well, more than friends and family, because it's going to be a business.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, it will be operated as a business, and that's why he was alluding to the organization that will be running it with a full-blown kitchen. And I believe they'll also be doing catering that may not even be related to the church, because they're going to be using that full catering kitchen or full commercial kitchen as well. So.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Any other
Thank you.
questions? No? Okay. Thank you. All right, seeing no more questions for the applicant or staff, I will open it up for public comment.
We have none.
We have none, okay? Seeing none, I will close public comment and board discussion.
I mean, I think from a design perspective, it would be everything we would have probably asked for. I mean,
Yeah,
so.
I agree. Regarding the design, I think this building is stunning. The detail has been put into this. The beams, the stonework, the layouts, just the intricate details. Yeah, this is a beautiful building and definitely an attribute to the city of Milton. And for that reason too, for me personally, I would recommend approval for this, because now they're trying to share that with the rest of the community as well. And I just really don't see any problem with that, especially since the facility is built to hold X number of people and they're willing to reduce that down to less than that. I think that's showing kind of an olive branch as far as trying to get this thing pushed through and approved. So that's all I had to say. Anything else? No? Okay. So seeing none, we do make a motion for approval and or denial with any kind of comments or anything like that for the planning commission, correct? Okay. Yeah. So I'll kick it off then. I'll make a motion to recommend approval for the use permit for U 25-01-12900 Arnold Mill Road for Ebenezer Methodist of Milton. Approval to the plan, or excuse me. not BZA, Planning Commission, sorry, for approval.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion to recommend approval and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Fine. All right, it's unanimous. Thank you very much, sir. Good luck. All right, moving on. So we're still going to stay on our courtesy reviews, and now we're going to be at 7B, V23-03, or excuse me, V25-03, 15060 Freemanville Road.
Good evening, board members.
Michael, how
Hey
are
there.
you?
Doing great. The applicant is Daniel Harper, and the address is 15060 Freemanville Road. The request is to section 314, accessory structures of the UDC to allow proposed detached garage accessory structure to be located in front of the existing single-family home. Here's the aerial map showing the property. We have Freemanville Road here, Deer Haven Preserve to the south, and then White Columns to the north. Background information: the owner bought the property in 2024. He's seeking a variance to build a detached garage accessory structure in front of the primary single-family home, and he's proposing some screening in front of the structure to aid in some screening towards Freemanville Road, which include a mixture of holly, cryptomeria, cherry, holly, laurel, and arborvitae. Here is a support map showing support from 100, 120, 125, 140, 160, 180, and 200 Deer Haven Lane, and 15050, 15133, and 15135 Freemanville Road. And here are the support letters. Here's a floor plan showing the two bays right here for the garage, and then a utility room right here. Here's a green arrow showing the actual structure, proposed structure on the property. As you can see, the house is built towards the rear of the property, and it'd be hard not to put a attached garage other than attaching it to the main structure. And here's a topo map that shows the hills on the property as well, sloping pretty aggressively towards Deer Haven Lane. And there's a mixture of hard contours through the middle of the property. Here are the elevations. This side will face internally towards the house. And this side will face Freemanville Road, including a brick water table and board and batten with a standing seam roof. And they are proposing an iron ore color, which will be shown later. Kind of hidden from the trees, but it is iron ore, is the board and batten color. But this is a rendering to show what the screening will look like from Freemanville. And here is the full screening plan. Here's the view to the east across Freemanville Road. View to the south, backyard facing Deer Haven Reserve. View to the north, side yard. And a view to the south, which is Deer Haven Lane. Again, Deer Haven Preserve. And they're really essentially building the house right at the tree line. This is me standing back at the fence, taking a picture, pretty much showing the distance from the fence on Freemanville Road. Any questions for staff or call up the applicant?
Real quick on this picture, you're standing on Freemanville Road?
I'm at the fence, it's
Fence,
internal
okay.
fence, yes, yeah.
Okay.
So I would say 10 feet, give or take,
Okay.
back, yeah.
Do you have the site plan view that we can take a look at again?
Yeah, so I was standing like right here, where the fence is.
Okay. Can you go back to the planting plan as well?
Mhm. The simulation, or you want to see the,
Nah, this is next one. Oh, yeah, next one.
oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry. Yes, this one. This one, thank you.
Misheard you.
Okay. Has there been a submitted site plan with this on there? So the site plan showing these trees and sizes?
No, there has not.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any other questions for Michael?
Was there a recommended size for those trees that are planted once the building's done? Like, can we say that we don't want them this big, we want them mature?
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can, yeah, you can make that recommendation.
So this structure would be located in front of the existing single-family home. I know we've had some issues with that previously. Is that acceptable in this one, or is this part of us reviewing to see if it's okay to be in front of the structure?
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly discuss anything you all want, for sure.
What is the
Yeah,
code,
it's
the
going to-
UDC? It
correct.
shouldn't be behind it?
Yes, correct. So
Okay.
it's going to go through BZA, correct?
Correct, in 2
For
weeks.
approval, this is a courtesy review for
be in
us
front,
to make any
yeah.
kind of comments or recommendations to regarding what they've submitted to the BZA for their ultimate decision on whether they'll allow it or not.
Yeah, if this was in the backyard, they wouldn't have to get a
We have
variance.
to go through this,
right?
okay.
Correct, yes. If it was on the side or in the back,
Right.
there's
That's
no
what I
variance to
was
be needed.
checking.
Or if it was attached.
Correct, the breezeway. We see that a lot through building permits. They'll connect it with the breezeway and put it in the front.
Mhm.
And then
This
some-
That'd be a
would
long breezeway.
Yeah,
breezeway on
300
this
feet,
one.
yeah.
Would that technically be in code though?
Never seen one bigger than 30 feet, but
Just curious. Okay. Any other questions for Michael? No? All right. Thank you, Michael.
Mhm.
Can we have the applicant come forward now this time or?
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. I'm Cliff Robinson, the owner. Lived in Alpharetta and Milton for about 14 years. This is my first council meeting, so give me a little grace.
You're doing great so far.
Daniel Harper, the builder. We're requesting this variance just because we've looked at other options. To put it on the left would still be in the front. It'd be a huge retention wall that probably wouldn't be sightly to Deer Haven. If we put it in the back, it's going to be really in the back corner. It'd be very sightly to everybody in Deer Haven. So it just felt like this was best right in the middle of that pasture. So I have done landscaping through Gibbs, and we did some screening in the on the property now. We planted 12, 15-foot trees. Very willing to do that if that's what we need to do. So you want to talk about architecture?
Yeah, from a design standpoint, we knew this is going to be kind of outside the normal Unified Development Code. So the front elevation that faces the road is very similar to a front elevation of what you'd see on a single family residence. So you got a porch, you got a garage, and we'll have the water table, and we'll have our cedar posts, cedar beams, cedar accent brackets, things like that. So it should give the appearance of it's supposed to be there, and at least keeping with the spirit of the code.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions for the applicant or? No? Okay. Thank you. Seeing no questions for the applicant, I will open up for public comment.
We have none.
None? Okay, I will close public comment. Board discussion. So to your point, yes, we can. So what I would like to say, I'm okay. I like the iron ore color. Obviously, staff will see to it when they submit for the building permit, if they get approved and all that, to match that. So I think we make the recommendation for that. The fact that it does resemble a single family, single story kind of home, and the fact that they're going to be doing these plantings. One thing I would have liked to have seen, which I'm going to make a recommendation for, is if we move forward to recommend approval, is those trees that you had shown on that drawing is let's dictate a size for them, and or placement. So when the site plan does come through, it'll have a landscape plan on there, which will dictate the location and size of species. And I think that we could recommend that Sandra, the city arborist, reviews it for her approval, which she'll do anyway, I believe, right? So to make sure that it kind of matches up with any recommendations that we may provide with that, and that any recommendations, if the BZA does decide for approval, that they'll follow with as well. So that would be my discussion and comment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not upset with where it is. I don't think there's any other viable options on his property. As long as it's screened, and he's got amazing neighborly support, so.
Yeah, I would say try and get those two people right across the street, the two that are gonna be affected the most. Try and get a support letter from them before you get to the BZA. Yeah, that happens. But yeah, they'll ask. That'll be one of the first questions you get asked.
Then you can say you tried.
Right.
I feel there was one adjacent. Did I miss that? Was
There
there
was-
one adjacent that did not have approval?
Behind, I believe, behind the house.
It's vacant.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. it
Have
looked like
letters.
a-
Yes,
Mhm.
that's not built on yet.
Do we know if letters have gone to the residents on White Columns?
Within 300 feet, they would get a letter. So
Okay,
yeah, those would get.
like these people right here on White Columns are probably gonna be the most visually affected, depending on what kind of screening is there currently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Michael, was there any kind of screening to the north, to the backs of those white columns, or are those all pretty heavily vegetated?
It was pretty heavily vegetated, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the owner of this variance request owns that little stem too. He owns that property as well,
Okay,
but it is pretty heavily screened.
that was easy to get an approval
Is that
then.
correct? Yeah, he owns both of those properties.
Okay. Yeah, so then there's still that access to 15050 anyway, so. Okay. All right. Any other discussion?
No, I like the iron ore. I mean, that would have been a recommendation, I think.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, say again?
I said I like the iron ore. I think that would have been a recommendation
Yeah,
to minimize.
because we
the-
had one that came in beforehand that was like a white, like,
Yes.
let's paint it to. But I think with the vegetation that they have, if it's adequate size, right? So a certain number, a certain gallon size, or a certain height, like typically the, can you go back to that one more time?
Yeah,
Sorry.
of course.
Then I promise I'll let you sit down for a little bit. Right there. Yeah, like the cryptomeria. We could, I think those are, the cryptomeria right there, especially with the spacing that they have, we can make a recommendation like, hey, 6 to 8 foot spacing, 8 to 10 foot or 6 to 8 foot tall.
Mhm.
But the way that they have those kind of spaced out,
Staggered a little more.
yeah.
Mhm.
If it is Gibbs that you're using for the landscaping, they do a good job and maintenance and stuff as well. So, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to recommend a color. Just wouldn't want to pigeonhole them.
Yeah.
I know it would be nice,
Mhm.
but I don't think that's our job.
Can we just
kinda is.
recommend a
Mm.
dark color? Can we just say like?
Not for
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
though.
not a specific color.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. honestly, I'd rather see more, I'd rather see more emphasis put on the screening vegetation than the actual color of the structure.
Because if that's
So,
successful.
Because if it was a single-family home being built, we wouldn't have any say anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
All they'd have to
So-
do is split it
That's correct.
and then we wouldn't have this large parcel anymore.
That's correct. So, okay. Any other discussion? No? Somebody want to make a recommendation?
I'll make a recommendation of 15060 Freemanville Road to the BZA and include the screening vegetation be big enough that it screens the house or the garage.
Yeah, so maybe we could say, in that motion to, through the arborist review, through the building process to allow the arborist, city arborist to review for adequate screening upon planting and future growth or something like that. I think that still leaves them in a little bit of area to where we're not pigeonholing them in, no?
Yeah, I just don't, I mean, if we say that the trees have to screen the entire structure, I mean, we're talking about 25-foot trees.
No, I'm saying adequate, right? It doesn't have to do the whole thing.
Right.
Gray area there.
But if we throw out a number,
Yeah.
if we throw out a 10-foot number,
Yeah, a number is more
Then-
clean. We did that last, I think, in actual height.
Yeah,
for the
so
tree.
arborvitae's can come in, you can do 6 to 8 foot, 8 to 10 foot, 10 to 12 foot, and they usually have a diameter between 6 and 8. Oh, that's right. You don't want to go to that.
I just think that's too restrictive. I mean,
I'm okay with that.
so.
Yeah.
I think as long as the plant is there, it's gonna grow.
Yeah.
So,
I think the idea is it's just so they don't put a 5-gallon
right.
shrub.
Right, little,
What's that?
I said little pints.
Yeah.
Like some growth.
I
Do I need to
totally
recommend
ruined
this
your
again?
motion. I
Yeah, you did.
apologize.
It's just a recommendation, right?
We talk about
Um,
maturity potentially. I'm not an arborist, but if a tree is a certain maturity, wouldn't it be implied to be a certain height?
That sounds too restrictive to me.
It's still gray area.
Yeah.
Or minimum
That's the
height.
difficulty on these
Yeah.
because I'm with you. We don't want to pigeonhole you guys into doing something so specific that it just makes it cumbersome, right? But at the same time, we have to identify the intent and then also for the city of Milton. But
We just recommend that all plantings should be between 6 and 10 feet tall.
Like a minimum of 6
Yeah.
foot.
Yeah, I think a minimum.
I'd be okay with that, or I'd be okay with just putting it into Sandra, the city arborist. Or not.
Yeah, I think that's,
That's a good recommendation.
yeah, then we leave it up to the city. They can make,
The arborist, yeah.
yeah.
Sandra's very, very easy to work with and she understands, yeah.
Actually, she won't be able to,
Determine height.
yeah, she will just
She
go
will-
with
we're on a
whatever
roll here.
you guys tell as a condition, because she won't have any minimum or maximum. She's just gonna look at the plan and, because that's not a tree canopy thing. It's
Yeah.
just-
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it's landscaping.
Mhm.
Even if we recommend it.
If you make
Yeah.
a condition, it's a
Understood,
condition.
understood.
And she has something to measure it to, right? No?
Okay.
I feel like we've done minimum recommendations in
we
the
have.
past.
No, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
That's fair. I would be okay with saying, recommend approval with the plantings as shown. On their, and that those plantings as submitted to this application reflect what goes into the approved cycle.
You want to make that recommendation? All
Wanted you and I ruined your.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
right, I'm gonna try this again. I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of the variance at 15060 Freemanville Road with the current vegetation in front of the garage structure. On the
will-
plan, the vegetation plan.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's unanimous. Good luck, guys. Thank you.
No, that's
All
good
right,
discussion.
moving on. 7C, no, yes, excuse me. 7C, V25-06, 100 Deer Haven Lane, which I believe is the property.
The applicant is Martin Anker, and the representative tonight is Frank Franke, and the address is 100 Deer Haven Lane. The following variances are being requested. Section 3.14 accessory structures to allow proposed cabana accessory structure to be located in front of a single-family home. Section 8.42E2A UDC to allow a proposed private recreational pickleball court to be located in front of the single-family home. And the second variance is the exact same variance because there are 2 total pickleball courts. Background information, the owner bought the property in 2024 and plans to build a new single-family home, cabana, and 2 pickleball courts. The proposed screening plan along Freemanville Road, Deer Haven Lane, and the rear property line includes magnolia, cryptomeria, thuja, hemlock, maple, and cypress. Originally, the applicant proposed to have one of the pickleball courts located in front of the cabana facing Freemanville Road, so there would have been an open pickleball court towards Freemanville Road. After receiving feedback from the city architect, the applicant made the following changes: to update the site plan where only the cabana faces Freemanville Road and the pickleball courts are located behind the cabana, and the city architect recommending adding a feature towards Freemanville Road, and a chimney was chosen by the applicant. Here is a site map. As you can see, the variance requested right before you is directed to the north. So you'll see a similar support map. But yes, this is Deer Haven Reserve, Freemanville Road, and it's the first property right when you get in the subdivision. And here's the gate right here. Here are the 4 support letters. We have 120 Deer Haven Lane, Deer Haven Preserve HOA, and then we have 15060 Freemanville Road, and across the street, 15135 Freemanville Road. And the zoning is AG1. Here are the support letters.
Can you go back to that one just one second, please?
Yeah.
Does it say lighting what after 9 p.m.?
Yeah, no lighting after 9 p.m.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, yeah. That actually might be a question for the applicant. If they are proposing lighting, I'm not aware if they are according to the plan. So that might be a question for the applicant if they are proposing any lighting for the pickleball courts.
Okay.
And this is the HOA letter. And the Deer Haven Lane support letter. Report from the applicant who presented previously, 15060 Freemanville Road. Here's the site plan. This is Freemanville Road, and here's Deer Haven Lane. Here's a zoom in showing the cabana in the front and the 2 pickleball courts behind. Here's a landscape plan. As you can see, it goes all the way around on all 3 sides. And there's also additional screening towards Freemanville Road, and I'll zoom in on it.
Michael, on that landscaping plan, is there any, is there any tree index?
There's not.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I can read you the tree species if that's what you're asking me.
Every one of them.
No, Cryptomeria, magnolia.
We're
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's bigger from my point of view. Yeah, it's kind of small. Yeah, Cryptomeria, Magnolia, Thuja. And then we have some Hemlock and Magnolia towards the front. Existing maple. And on the back, we have Magnolia, Thuja, more Magnolias, and then Cryptomeria.
Got it.
But the more aggressive is right around it, and they assume they were trying to screen more from the street for these in the front. So it's 2 layers of screening essentially.
Is this lot AG1?
It is. Mhm. Yes.
Michael, is this one of those lots that the frontage is technically Freemanville, but the driveway goes out? and then-
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes. Yes.
so that's the only reason why this is technically in front.
Correct. And per zoning, if you have 2 frontages, the shorter side is the front. As you can see, it narrows and Freemanville is the shorter side. So you have the driveway and everything coming off here, essentially facing the side street, which is a 40-foot side street. But you're correct. Yes.
Okay, so the house will not face Freemanville. When you turn onto their street, it'll all be here.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And I'll let the applicant make his argument for hardship, but when I originally reviewed this permit, I said to the applicant, if you flipped the tennis court cabana, put the house in the front, then technically we meet code. But from discussing with the applicant, the HOA preferred not to have the driveway right off right after the gate, essentially. But I'll allow him to argue his hardships. But he did detail that in his letter of appeal. All right, here are the elevations. And I'll show a zoomed in one, it shows it better. So this is kind of cut off, but the bottom left is facing Freemanville Road. And this is the architecture feature they added. And the city architect wanted something more character facing Freemanville Road, and that's what they added. And this is the opposite side facing inward. And this is the front elevation facing Deer Haven Lane. So they're choosing a southern white, and it's Columbus brick. And the roof shingles are, I'm just gonna say.
Or a black.
Yeah, okay. All right, so this is a view across the street to the east, across Freemanville Road. View to the west. This is what the next lot over, which also is not developed, 120 Deer Haven. Here's a view to the north facing the side street. And view to the south. So this is in the middle of the property facing south direction. You can see a home. And I try to guesstimate where this would be from the courts. It's around this area. This is me right at the back of the property looking towards Freemanville Road right here. And then here's Deer Haven. And then you can see it's quite the drop, probably a 20-foot drop all the way up.
Wow.
I was wearing boots. And here's the inverse look, basically from Freemanville Road, just inside, looking down the property. All right, that's it. Any questions before we call the applicant up?
Questions for staff?
Not yet.
I can't see, I know there's some contours. I don't know what the elevation changes, but will there be any retaining walls when they put in that pickleball court?
I did not see any around the actual pickleball court.
Just one around the small one around the cabana.
Yeah, you can see right here. Yeah, there's this one right here. You can see the contours are not too aggressive. It's kind of flatter.
That's what, are those, what's the grade difference between each contour? It's hard for me to see.
Yeah, I don't have that information. I'll defer to the applicant to answer that
2 foot.
question.
Is it?
Yes, 2
Okay.
foot.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Michael? No? Thank you. Would the applicant come forward, please? Or- Good evening.
Evening, City. First of all, this is my first time public speaking, so take it easy on me. I'm Frank Franke, the builder for Anchor Custom Homes at Deer Haven. Done most of the properties in that neighborhood. They were talking about 100 Deer Haven Lane, and by the way, I'm actually building, and I'll let the homeowner know that I'm actually building Lot 9, which is behind that 150/60 that was just previous to us. So I'll let them know that the homeowner will give him support for the back because we're building. But anyhow, I stand here for 100 Deer Haven Lane. It was a great point, madam. You had a great point. We definitely have a pretty big, significant slope difference from Freemanville Road down to where the pickleball courts are going to reside. I don't want to give you an exact measurement because I should have had the actual plans that I would have been able to open them and give you that measurement, but I'm sure that we're somewhere in that 10-foot to 8-foot range below that street elevation where the pickleball courts are going to be at. I don't think I can see it from here, and I don't want to try to guess at that. Yeah, I can't see. So there's a significant difference, and the biggest thing here was the homeowner not wanting to be able to drive into their community, right? He bought into an HOA, he bought into a community, a family, right? And his idea was to be able to drive through the community gates and get into his home as opposed to off of Freemanville. And you're right, ma'am, this all started because of this property faces Freemanville Road. And that's why we're here today. And then obviously, thank you, city. Amazing human beings that were able to give us all the information, just like that other gentleman spoke, which the city gave us all the information and know all the codes. And we just basically listened to what the city said and we made some changes. We put the cabana structure facing Freemanville Road. We went ahead and made it a little bit more architectural friendly to make it look like a home from the front with the fireplace chimney. We went from an all stucco house to brick because the city architect recommended that no stucco house off of Freeman. So we went ahead and did that. And we did all that screening around. The first HOA approval that I got was, I'll give you an approval, but make sure you screen. And then I said, no. Told the architect, give me screening all the way around. So I've made basically like a U-shaped screening platform on that pickleball court. There will be lights. That question was asked, and there will be lights. Pickleball court, so it's a lower elevation than a tennis ball court. Lighting. Some of the homeowners, we got support from some we didn't. I basically told the homeowners, some of them, we'll turn off the lights at whatever time we're willing to. It's not like we're going to be renting out the space to have a pickleball events. The homeowners just really passionate about what they do and their family love doing that over the weekends, and that's the idea. If you have any other questions, or maybe I didn't answer something.
Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Excuse me.
Do we know the height of the lights?
So I know that they're short. I don't know the height, and I have Mr. Vincent here, who's the homeowner, and maybe he knows a little bit more, and maybe he could tell us before we walk out of here. Vincent Bednicourt is the actual homeowner, and he can probably tell us, but they're definitely a lot lower than tennis courts. And I know because we're having on lot 4, the tennis courts on lot 4 we actually have a tennis court on lot 4, and it has major lights. So that got approved to the city. I know to the city and the homeowners association, we're going to keep these lower because it's a pickleball court.
And just a quick, when we review tennis courts or pickleball courts, the lumen has to be 0.5 of the property line. So everything will meet code when it comes through.
So when you say lot 4, is that also in Deer Haven?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
So
this
this
is,
is lot 1, and then if you continue to the west, you have 2, which is already built, 3, and then you have 4, which is underbuilt, and they're probably close to getting a slab.
But that court was in the back. but they
That court is in
require-
the back, so you don't
so
really,
They
right.
require the variance, so you've already got a house or neighborhood that has courts in it, right?
I think they even went through a variance because
Oh,
the
they
court
did?
was encroaching into the 75-foot setback,
Got it,
and
okay.
that was thumbs up, so that was good.
All right, what are the questions for the applicant?
Michael said you were going to say something about the reason why the courts could not go on the right side of the home.
So we had already, the house was already architecturally designed, right? So the architect is done, the architecture's done, the structure's done. We've invested over, I couldn't tell you the exact amount, but well over $50,000 in plans. And we just designed it this way because it made total sense that you would want to drive in and have the house facing Deer Haven Lane. So if we were to shift that house to the Freemanville Road, there would be a major impact in cost, redesigning everything. And I think there was some concern also on how it would lay out in tennis courts and the structure on there. So it would definitely be an impact to us.
I didn't, sorry. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
You're fine.
I'm Vincent Bencourt. How are you?
Good.
Nice to meet you all. So one of the main concerns with the pickleball courts being on the other side, you're putting the home closer, the master bedroom and the master bath would then literally be sitting on Freemanville Road. And there's a concern with noise. Freemanville is so busy. And this is a gorgeous home that's going to be built, elegant, well done. And we'd hate to have a home like that built that caliber to have a master bedroom and master bath sitting on Freemanville Road. It's a shame. And honestly, we probably wouldn't build this home if we had to do that, because it's a major concern. We spend a lot of time on the lot and we're like, God, this road is busy, and it's getting busier and busier and busier. So we thought it would be a nice buffer. The cabana would buffer the noise, the additional layers of landscaping would all at least hopefully buffer that noise. I believe we're still going to hear that, unfortunately, the road noise, but it's going to be so much more improved because we pushed the home further away from the street than to push the pickleball courts next to the neighbor on the other side and then shove the house all the way towards the street. And it would also look awkward because you're approaching a beautiful development and you have this house sitting almost towards the front rather than seeing this beautiful natural landscaping and the development that had landscaping there, and seeing that first before you see this big home sitting right on Freemanville Road. So that was really the point of it. Obviously, there's another downside to it. The septic plan, everything had already been planned, and as he said, there's quite a bit of funding that been put into this as is. So we originally had the pickleball courts separated. We've made adjustments to move the pickleball courts together to appease everyone. We've added the fireplace. We've added the 3 layers of screening around the pickleball courts, and we added additional screening in front of Deer Haven on Freemanville Road. So we're trying to meet everybody in the middle.
Just so you know, I just verified the site plan. You do have about a 10-foot plus drop from Freemanville Road if you start in the corner coming down. And I have the lot staked, so if anybody wants to stop by and visit and check it out with me, I'm more than welcome to, and you guys can see where they sit on.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other questions? No? Okay.
Thank you for your
Thank
time,
you.
gentlemen, ladies.
Seeing no more questions for the applicant, I will open it up for public hearing.
We do have Chris and Amy Kane who'd like to come and speak about this agenda item.
Great. Good evening. Please just state your name and your address for the record, and then.
Chris Kane, 15040 Freemanville.
Great.
So, and I've talked to Martin about this. I'm in the house, the greenhouse that you showed earlier that sits on the south side. That's correct, on the south side. And
Chris, could you please come
Sure.
close to the mic?
Yep.
The recording doesn't happen if you don't speak in the
Okay.
mic.
Thank you, Shiva.
I'm in 15040 Freemanville. It's the greenhouse that you saw, that the pickleball courts would be the property, my property back to that. And in this proposal, originally, there was no mention of lights, and then I guess somebody sent a letter out and said that there would be lights on the pickleball court. And so I object to the lights, also the bushes and trees. So that view that you had from my house gave you a good elevation change that's not in any of the drawings. So I sit about 20 feet, probably 30 feet higher from property perspective down to the pickleball courts. So if you wanted to have any trees around it, they'd have to be 60, 70-foot trees for me not to see it, because I sit so much higher than where that is today. I know the lights, and I know the gentleman that built the house 4 houses down, and that actually backs up to the Brock's vacant 23 acres of land. So it's not really an apples to apples comparison.
Michael, could you bring up not the site plan, but or the street views so he can point to where he is versus where the pickleball court's going to be and all that kind of
This
stuff.
map you're talking about?
Yeah, if you could use the cursor and just kind of show us
Yeah, absolutely.
where you are.
Yep. So this is my house in, sorry, I'm right here.
We use the mouse.
Yeah, sorry, apologize for
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Okay.
I'm right here
Mhm.
and the pickleball courts are going about right here.
Mhm.
And so I'm about 30 foot higher than the pickleball courts currently. So, which is hard to see on the site map. You could see it when you showed my greenhouse. That was the back of my
Might
greenhouse.
hold a picture up the house.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
please. Mhm. Just while we're discussing it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There, that's it.
Right there.
So you can see it's much higher.
Mhm.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So that was, objected to the lights, to it being built, and also just how you could put enough structure up to block my view of the court.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Do we have any additional public comment?
No other comments.
No, okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Seeing no more comments, I will close public comment and open it up for board discussion.
Can I ask a question to staff?
Mhm.
Are there any noise
I was just gonna
ordinances
say that.
with pickleball courts going in?
Noise is a huge problem with pickleball.
It's something the city might want to look at because around the country, it's becoming an issue.
The number one lawsuit as far
I'll
as
look into that.
pickleball
Yes.
goes. Yes.
Before I get to BZA.
And a lot of HOAs are requiring quiet pickleball paddles
paddles.
and balls now.
We just went through this in our neighborhood.
Is that really a thing?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Interesting.
I do know it's louder than a tennis ball.
It's
It's
very loud and it can echo, especially in the winter. It's a problem.
Yeah, I'll look into that before BZA.
Okay. I was wondering when I looked at that picture, for whatever reason, there's just this open void. You've got a lot of vegetation on the left and right side of that picture of your house, sir. But then there's that big void right in the
Right in
middle.
the middle. And whose land is between the two fences?
Yeah, is there an easement or something between the two properties?
That's yours? Okay.
Okay. The difference in this plan versus the one we just kind of discussed was this one actually had a site plan which included a vegetation tree location plan, a very detailed sketch, or excuse me, architectural drawings. There was just a lot, instead of just a hand-drawn sketch and kind of placement. For me, regarding the distance from Freemanville, which is essentially what this variance is going in front of, I honestly don't have a problem with that because it's 158 plus feet from the rural view shed. Am I correct? Or is that from the right of way?
I believe, yeah, the measurement was 120 or 130 feet.
Okay. To the cabana.
Correct, yes.
Then another,
Oh, yes, to the courts, yes.
yeah, so I really don't have a problem with that. But I do understand your point of view as far as the neighbor directly behind, right? But in this instance, we are supposed to comment and provide feedback for the variance itself, but we can also add, this is a question, I'm sorry. We can also add additional criteria or recommendations, not necessarily for this specific from Freemanville Road, or I guess it's just in the side yard in general, isn't it? Is what we're going for, this variance.
Well, there's no setback variance. It's in the front yard.
It's in the front yard.
Yeah, because Freemanville is the front setback.
Okay.
Yes.
So it all falls privy to it. So, okay. Sorry, sometimes I just have to hear myself. Thank you.
The house will orient towards Deer Haven Lane, which is the side street.
Any other thoughts?
Did the landscaping plan show any screening for the opposing neighbor?
It does have it wrapping all the way around.
It does.
But that's what I was asking you too, Michael, is if there was a tree index on there. So typically you'll have species of trees labeled out, and then typically it'll have size of trees as well.
There's no
Yeah,
sign.
we just had 2 sheets, and this is, so we got 5 cryptomeria down here, 3 magnolia, 3 thuja, more magnolias. And then if it curves around here, I'm trying to think what he can see, just more cryptomeria and magnolia. So,
So where,
but I could pull up maybe Frank could come back up and talk more about the size if you'd like to hear from him.
I think with the neighbor,
he's right here, right?
he's back here.
Yeah, he's back here.
What,
And he's
to
saying he
his,
sits up so high.
to his argument, we'd have to have 80-foot trees there.
Well, that's what he's saying.
Can you want him to talk about the landscaping, the maturity?
Yeah, so we don't actually have an actual schedule as of yet, but I wouldn't mind or be opposed to perhaps figuring out what his angle is in his backyard, because I've seen where his backyard is and his actual deck, right? Figure out what that angle is and see if maybe we can meet a tree requirement in the back to cover that. That's 1. And then 2, make sure that our lights are below the trees. And 3, we can even maybe perhaps discuss about, there's different technologies out there where you can put type of like cushion on your courts to reduce the noise. We can go with the recommendation on the paddles. We're willing to just help out each other however we can as a community, as neighbors.
What if you moved? I mean, Michael, can they move the court like closer to Deer Haven?
Yeah.
And it seems right now, if that picture was taken directly from where the pickleball courts are going to be, I mean, that's directly into the neighbor's backyard. I mean, if it was moved closer to Freemanville, closer to Deer Haven, I know it
Like more up
may
in the
be
corner.
further away from the house, but
Here's the house right here. So here's the house right here.
I think he's talking about the house in the back, the
That's what
neighbor,
I was
right?
saying. The neighbors are
Right,
gonna have
so,
to
but
grade
my
it
point
anyway.
is, you could have it all the way up to this line right here, which is the front plane of the house. It just can't be past the front plane of the house.
Oh.
If that makes sense.
I mean, they're getting a variance anyway.
Yeah, I guess, yeah,
So-
so that, we would have to read.
And
Yeah.
and it's at the front of a neighborhood. It looks kind of like an HOA pickleball location anyway.
Right, but yes,
I was just thinking if they could get it as far away from
Field measure, maybe.
Closer to Freemanville, you mean?
closer to Freemanville, closer to Deer Haven, and not in the sight line of
the home.
of that house.
I'd also like to see maybe some Leland cypresses, you know, the ones that grow a foot a year, maybe along that.
Well, the cryptomeria will.
Well,
They're
that-
very similar species.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
got the
they'll
actual
actually,
stake locations of the back of that pickleball court. So I
Mm-hmm.
got corner to corner pickleball and it's staked right now. So it was just recently staked, Mike. So we can actually go out there and take a look at it together and see versus, you know.
can you go back to the, where you had the, letters of, approval? No, I'm just trying to look at distance from like where this pickleball court is gonna be to where that home is gonna be.
So and I actually walked the site, I think, last week with this homeowner, Mr. Alan Brock, that has those 45 acres back there. And we kind of figured that it was somewhere around this area.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm saying. I would love to see where those stakes are in relation to the house. For sure, it's close to it, but maybe we can grab one cord and maybe adjust it and put some more landscaping. But I would say just ultimately that cord is somewhere around right here.
Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So I personally think that, especially in their willingness to kind of work with the neighbors, work with the plantings, work with, you know, heights, locations, the sightline idea is a great idea, in my opinion. Honestly, I would recommend having something like that for the BZA when you go forward. Because that will put it into perspective, as well as, you know, now that you've got it staked out, maybe it'll be easier to identify exactly where that's going to be located. So is it going to be directly, you know, visible from the neighbor's home, right?
I mean, and as far as the lights go, I can attest that the newer lights, it's not gonna shine in windows, like it's very concentrated in
They're
that
cutoffs.
area. It's,
Yeah, we could recommend the LED lights.
yeah. Well, I
Well,
think
like
that's what
Michael
they
said,
are
is that's
anyway.
already regulated anyway, right? So they can only have a certain lumen.
0.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So basically, yeah, it's got to be pretty weak at the property line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but do they have to be the LED lights that you can cut off at a property line?
I wouldn't
the-
know those details. Yeah, I just know what the
Yeah, I was
code
gonna say, like,
says.
I ain't heard of those.
Yeah, like at Kingsridge on that soccer field
Yeah.
that they have on the side. I mean, if you look at it at night, it cuts off.
It's almost like there's a wall there.
Yeah.
It's just the shields that they,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you can,
So that could be a
Different
recommendation.
fixtures.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
Okay. What other discussions?
I mean, those were, noise and lights were my biggest thing.
Yeah, noise was probably my number one. I mean,
Just a quick Google search will come up with hundreds and hundreds of lawsuits.
the cabana structure, I think they did a great job.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So I think consensus, right, on our discussion is recommend a regulation in the lighting that goes on there. Obviously, it will be monitored and reviewed by staff, but recommend to the BZA maybe some additional information on lighting, that the applicant bring in some additional information on lighting, as far as what type, lumen, all that stuff. I really like the sightline idea. I think if you can, you know, just a little bit of additional information to kind of show that sightline, I'm sure that your neighbor would be appreciative of that, at least to have a better idea. And then what was the other one that you said?
I mean, how do you do noise? How do you
Well,
recommend?
so we just went through it in our neighborhood and it's required to use a quiet paddle in our neighborhood.
Mm.
They're also coming out with new balls that are the 3D printer balls, and they're much quieter. Like the builder said, they are coming out with a new court material that's
Mhm.
supposed to make it quieter. All of this because of all the lawsuits.
Is it really that loud?
Yes.
What is the pickleball court that you're in reference to? Is that the neighborhood?
Yes.
Pickleball? So I don't know if I'm as concerned about that because this is a residential.
Well, that's why I would be more concerned
Yeah.
about it.
I'd
Yeah.
want it even quieter.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, how often is it really gonna get used, right?
Mm.
Well, if he's putting it in his yard, he's gonna use it often.
Yeah.
And he's putting two.
Yeah, he's got
That's
two.
weird.
Michael?
Were you guys going to discuss potentially locating it farther away? Just want to bring up that point up again. Was that something you're discussing?
I think it has to do
To
with the
me
sight
personally,
line,
I don't
right?
think if we move it forward, that's only going to increase the height difference from where they have it now. So if we move it forward, like you said, a 60-foot tree is not gonna do anything, right? I think 60 foot is probably aggressive, right? But I think moving it forward is not really going to change the issue that the neighbors would have
Right.
based on the proximity of their home and where these courts are gonna be.
I agree.
Fair, that's fair. That's fair.
Maybe.
That's what, I mean, that was my initial, I mean, that was why I recommended moving it
Mhm.
as far away from houses as you can get it,
Yeah.
because
So-
it is so loud.
So we can recommend that as a, something to consider, right? A consideration for them.
Yeah.
Okay. So lighting, location, noise, alternative measures, right? And sightline perspective. Was there anything else that we did discuss?
You
that we
had
wanna
a
add?
position of looking into positioning the courts closer.
Yeah, just put
Fairhaven.
location,
Good job. That's all I have.
further from property line,
Mhm.
right? One thing we don't see on there is the septic system or septic
Yeah,
field.
that's, do you know what that FM stands for? Because that's what I was worried that might be what it
Right.
is.
What does FM mean?
It's located on the contour lines where it connects it. So I don't know if it's field modified or what the
Oh,
FM
it
stands
could be
for. but-
field modified. Or do we know where the septic is, the septic field?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Oh, yeah, it's probably in the front right corner of the property. It's your septic. Yeah, the FM, yes, ma'am, that's my drain field.
Hmm.
That's my drain field, yeah. And
So
my-
then there you go.
Where's that?
My tanks, oh, yeah, so this
that
is
is
my
here?
septic tanks and then it runs into my drain
Yeah, you
field.
see,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
they've got the two
Mhm.
septic tanks.
On top of it.
That was another issue of positioning where the septic to the courts. And so we really
Mhm.
can't go more that way, but once I think we identify where the courts are in relationship to his house and figure out what that slope is, maybe we can do like a site elevation where it shows the trees and the height and do a sight line.
Yeah.
Let us know, we're here to.
think
I
that'll-
would
that'll help.
strongly recommend that.
Mhm.
That's a great idea. So thank you.
Do you think there should be any consideration to go from 2 courts down to 1?
I think that is something that would be for BZA to discuss. You could technically turn it, move it further away to doing one.
Good point.
My personal opinion, I'm kind of property rights guy, so I think if it fits, it works. But, okay. Lighting, location, noise, alternative solutions, and sightline perspective. Tree heights, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
And that'll go with the sightline study, right, for screening?
That will identify what height tree is necessary.
Yeah.
And I mean, ultimately, at that point, it becomes a civil thing, right? Is how neighborly does everyone want to kind of be? Fortunately, we don't have to decide that. But I think that it sounds like you guys are willing to kind of do those things to be a good steward and a good neighbor. So I think those additional things based on these recommendations to the BZA, I don't doubt that they won't come a little bit prepared. And if don't, then that's on the BZA at that point, so. Yeah, please.
Just come back to the microphone.
Yeah, you can step up to the podium.
Wait, oh, hold on.
Wait, microphone.
Be on YouTube later.
Great. So as the homeowner, the only thing I ask is that the neighbor, I have never spoken to this neighbor before, but the very first thing they asked is if we were going to be compensating them. So my goal would be, instead of asking us something so off-putting and so unethical, if it was a compensation thing.
So,
All right,
sir.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think probably your best bet would be to meet with the neighbors and, I don't want to use any terms, right? But
Yeah.
you guys talk about, what you guys are, what you can do to be a good neighbor. I don't think that necessarily means the C word you just said.
No, we've
So,
always been respectful neighbors.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
just
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
getting at is, we're not gonna be required to compensate them, correct? Or it could get to a point where they say, the only way we want this to happen, or we're gonna make your life a living hell, is to figure out compensation. I just don't want to get, approached like that. I would rather start the conversation. hi, so-and-so, instead of, well, what are we gonna get paid,
My
think it
suggestion
came
to
off
you, my
wrong.
suggestion to you is just to do what you can, what you feel that you would be willing to do on your part to be a good neighbor, not necessarily concerned with what additional neighbors are. And I'll leave it at that and I'll have to
Sure.
close the mic off, okay? But
Sure.
yeah, I would just suggest try to work that out, but that is something that we can't really discuss in this meeting.
Sure.
And I would suggest you discussing with that neighbor prior to the BZA.
Yep.
Okay?
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. All right, so any more discussion? No? Okay. Does anyone want to make the motion?
Nope.
Nope.
You mean try?
Yeah, I got notes. Oh, you got
Got
notes. Yeah,
notes.
perfect. Okay.
All right. So I would like to make a motion for the applicant with the following recommendations for the applicant to provide for the BZA. The following: to look into other options for repositioning the court, maybe closer to Deer Haven Lane. Look into noise solutions such as paddles, surfaces, balls, etc. To provide additional information on the lighting, fixtures, cutoffs, heights, locations, and also to provide a sightline study with screening with tree heights for the adjacent neighbors. Did I get everything?
I think that was great.
Okay. So do I have a second?
I will second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Just to be clear, was that recommendation for approval?
I'm sorry? Was it recommendation for approval with conditions? Yes.
Just know it was not
Approval
unanimous.
with conditions.
Got
It was
You-
not.
Got
You
it.
were not.
Correct.
4-1.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
So what do you want?
I think pickleball needs to be studied before we start putting pickleball courts everywhere.
Yeah. I think there'll be tennis courts in 5 years. Pickleball phase out. Anyway, let's move on. Good luck. Good luck, guys. I hope you guys can get that worked out. Thank you. All right, so moving on, we've got 7D, V25-07, 575 Glen National Drive.
Yes, we have a new representative, Mr. Matt Skubik, who is the engineer, will be representing this application today.
Okay.
The address is 575 Glen National Drive. The variance requests are the following: section 1157A1 to allow an existing home and proposed home addition to approach a 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer. Section 1157A2 to allow an existing home and proposed home addition and cover patio to encroach the 75-foot impervious setback. Some background information: the applicant purchased the property in 2021, and the homeowner is proposing a home addition and covered porch addition that is not expanding the existing encroachments into the 50-foot Milton stream buffer at 75-foot impervious setback. Here's the aerial. The stream is essentially right here and goes up the side property line right here. The zoning is CUP, and here is the property inside the Glen National subdivision. And they have support from these two neighbors down here, 595 Glen National Drive and 605 Glen National Drive. Here are the two letters. Here's a stream buffer calculation showing existing versus what the change is. As you can see right here, the 50-foot will stay exactly the same at 367. And the 75 will actually be reduced by 3 square feet. And here's let's go back. So this is existing conditions. And now here's the office and covered porch. So the impervious encroachments are not increasing, and they're proposing a rain garden for water quality. And here's the rear elevation. And here's the office right here, the covered porch. Here's the right side elevation, showing the office. And here's a proposed left side elevation. And you can make out the covered porch on this side. Here's a view to the east across, a view to the north, which is across from Glen National Drive. View to the south, which is the backyard. You can make out the stream and the dip in the contours. View to the west, showing the stream as well. And a view to the east from the backyard facing the neighbors. Here are the existing conditions.
Michael,
Yes.
is a deck is considered impervious surface, or is there a percentage of that?
The deck you're saying right here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the deck's going to be converted into a covered porch. but
Correct.
The net impervious is increasing.
Does the city, so it is increasing that?
No, it's not. It's just,
Okay.
you drop a raindrop from the sky, whether it's a deck or a covered porch, doesn't change the calculation.
Okay. So whether it's an open slatted deck versus a covered porch on there, the impervious is still calculated the same in the city of
Correct.
Milton. Okay.
It's like a bird's eye view.
Got it. Thank you.
And yeah, so these are the two angles showing the existing conditions. And I have the site plan again if we need to reference it. Any questions? Staff?
Can you repeat how far into the setback they want to go?
So they're in the 75 and 50. I don't have the exact
Oh,
distance.
already.
Yeah. I don't know the exact distance, but you can kind of make it out here that, 50 is probably about 3 or 4 feet. And then part of the house is already existing as part of the variance request. But essentially when the house was built pre-2000, it met buffer standards. And then when the buffers expanded, it really enveloped the existing home.
Okay. Because the national standard buffer is 25 foot, but then the municipalities have the additional ability to require an additional 25 and then even 25
So
more.
the
right?
25 is a state buffer and
Yeah,
the 50 and
state.
75 is city.
Yeah, there you go. Mhm. So Milton gave us 75-foot buffer.
50 and 75.
50, yeah, I'm saying,
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
we're both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Michael? No? All right, thank you. All right, if the applicant, yeah, please, if you don't mind, come on down, and if you have anything to add to,
Yes, my name's Matt Skubik. I'm the architect and contractor. We've since gotten another letter from 645 Glen National, and we also got an email of approval from the HOA.
Okay.
So we've gotten that since. Obviously, it's hard for them to do anything to their house without these variances. The living quarters are outside of the variance, which is why we have to do the work on the variance side of the house. That's the public side of the house. So without redesigning the whole house, this is kind of our option. We've stayed within the footprint of what is existing. We've even given back a few square feet where we were able. And yeah.
great, thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions for the applicant? No? All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, seeing no more questions for the applicant, I will open up for public comment.
I don't know if this is the applicant or the homeowner. It's different than Saba. Oh, okay. Did you want to speak or? Okay.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Okay.
No public.
No
Okay.
public comment.
So just a letter of approval from the homeowner. Got it, okay. Thank you. All right, seeing no public comment, I will close public comment. Board discussion. I'm sorry?
I have zero problems with it.
Yeah, no, the fact that they've essentially utilized the existing structure to create and better the home, and unfortunately, it's grandfathered in as far as the stream buffers are concerned, so, yeah, I agree with you on that. Okay. Any other discussion? Motion?
Make a motion to approve the variance at 575 Glen National Drive.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion for recommending approval to the BZA and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's unanimous. All right, good luck, sir. Thank you. All right, moving on. And another courtesy review.
Yes.
7E, Northside Medical Office Building. We don't have an application or anything for that, or this is just a review, correct?
Oh, this is a courtesy
Yep,
review.
okay, got it.
Sorry, where are we?
No address. Right here.
7E.
Oh, there's the address. Okay.
Good evening, DRB members, Shubha Jangam.
Great to see you again, Shuba.
Thank you. Great to see you guys too. So this applicant is Kathleen Matonak. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Oh, actually, Mr. May is here, the architect. He's going to be presenting. This is a courtesy review of a building at 15755 Birmingham Highway. The size of the property, the lot is 0.3 acres. Zoning is mixed use, commercial. It's part of overlay of Birmingham Crossroads overlay, and currently this lot is vacant lot. So there is a lot of history to this. This actually subdivision. This is an aerial view, and as you can see, the property is over here at the star placed on it, and there's a subdivision, like the residential subdivision right behind it. It all was platted together long time ago in 2004, before the city's inception. There was a case called RZ 0416 with Fulton County. That's when they came in and they did their rezoning. And when city, that's when they got their mixed use zoning. And then when they came in with the city, they had done some zoning modification, and the entire subdivision's site plan was approved as part of modification. So site plan becomes kind of an LDP. So there was multiple modifications, and the last one was in 2018. And then, there were some minor modifications into buffer and some other things, which we don't really have to go through because we are only focusing on this small piece of property that was platted as part of this subdivision. Okay, and so the site plan was approved, the lot size was approved back then. Even the final plat is done for this subdivision in 2020. And as you can see here, most of the infrastructure is already in place. This is the last piece of puzzle that's being developed right now. This is a site plan. Now you are seeing a little bit of landscaping, which I will let the applicant talk about it more. They're going to have to come back with separate LDP application here at DRB, but we're going to let the staff review that before it comes here. So we have hold on to it for a while. Today we're going to discuss building, but you can generally conceptually discuss landscaping, and you can tell them what you would like to have there. Parking is actually, it's already there, the parking lot. This is their proposed elevation rendering. This is a backside, the parking side of the building. This is two sides of the buildings and the lighting plan that they have right now. These are the finishes they are working with. According to our UDC for this Birmingham Crossroads portion, this kind of architectural style is allowed, permitted. So it fits the architectural style, as you can see. It's called informal rural design. There's a lot of brackets there, the shed kind of roof lines, and little bit of embellishments with the frame and exposed brackets and things like that. This is a building right next door on the north side of the property, existing. And this came to DRB in 2021, and DRB had approved this. And this is just to kind of give you the reference of now back then what we approved. The city architect also has reviewed this proposal, and he supports it. And the applicant obviously has to go provide further details and specifications, colors, and I will let them talk about it, but they will have to give a little more. And the signage is subject to separate permitting. They can discuss the signage, but and DRB can look at the signage, but it's subject to the regulations. That's all I have. Any questions?
Any questions for Shub?
How many stories is the office building going to be?
It's going to be a medical.
How many stories?
It's a single story
One
building.
story.
Yep.
Can you go back to the elevation renderings?
Mhm.
Right there, that's fine. Okay,
All right, I'll get Mr. Bean.
thank you. No more questions for staff? Or-
Not
No?
yet.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, thank you for your patience tonight.
Oh, thank you all for your service to the community. We appreciate it. I am Gil May with May Architecture. Caitlin Matonek had a conflict tonight, a family conflict, so I'm filling in. So sorry for the downgrade, but we'll try
Lucky
to
you, huh?
get through this. We do have actual physical samples of the materials. If you guys would like for us to pass those up there, Chris, could you? We also have some copies of the renderings in the presentation. Would that also be helpful? We have hard copies of that.
No, I think unless you guys would like those, no? No, I thank you for bringing those.
Perfect. So just in general, it's about a 5,100 square foot, single story medical office building. It will allow Northside Hospital to expand their services into the community. It is a pad-ready site, so we're just kind of working from the existing pad and the existing parking area in the site. And then all the materials and the colors have been selected from the approved materials and colors in the zoning ordinance. So with that, open it up to any questions you may have.
Great, thank you.
Were you the same architect that did the other north side location?
no.
Okay. I'm not gonna.
Are the residential lots, are those all going to stay residential that are surrounding it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's not changing.
So that parking is only for that medical office?
Yes, for that building.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
What did the back or the front side of the building say?
I'm sorry.
Was there a writing on the front that faces the street in one of the pictures?
It said fresh produce.
Yes, we actually,
I think that was just
There
an
was a
example of
rendering
how
on
it
the outside
fit.
or-
Yeah.
But he did have some
Is it in the
of the
presentation?
renderings.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
right
didn't
there
know
by the
that.
door.
It's heavy.
This one? Oh,
so,
here?
yeah, so this is the facade that faces Birmingham Highway.
Oh, okay.
And as she mentioned, we understand that signage is a separate application, but we were trying to make sure we integrated the potential for signage within
Sure.
the zoning things. And so right now, this is just placeholder signage. It says Northside Hospital. It's their logo and their title there, but that would be a future
Sure.
discussion. Yeah, we just wanted to make sure the design integrated that so it wasn't an afterthought later.
And is that an enclosed dumpster enclosure?
I'm sorry.
Is that an enclosed dumpster enclosure that's attached to it?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
The enclosure on the.
Yeah, so on the right end, is that what you're asking about? So the shed structure houses the main water entry and the electrical room, as well as an access to the attic area. The access to the attic area is inside, but that's how they get to it. And then the enclosure around that is a screened enclosure. It's actually a solid wall with board and batten facing on it. That is for some of the mechanical equipment that couldn't go in the attic.
Oh, it's for mechanical as well?
Are you talking about the little,
The shed roof?
The-
that's the
is that a
water.
piece of fencing
It's solid, it's a solid wall enclosure. It's so, can I point with this? Yes. So this is actual building structure, which is where the water entry and the electrical room is. This over here to the right is a enclosure for the mechanical equipment.
So it's not dumpster, it's mechanical screening.
I'm sorry?
It's not for dumpster, it's just mechanical screening?
No, in fact, so the other building across the way, there's a shared dumpster agreement with the other building, so there'll be no dumpsters on this site.
Mhm.
Okay.
Can I see the the paint colors and the trim?
Oh, this wood.
So is the other building next to it is a dark blue, correct?
It is sort of a dark bluish teal. It's got some reddish, sort of rusted looking metal panels on the front.
The uniqueness of this neighborhood, well, I'll say that for discussion, but do you have any more questions for that?
I will say the wood sample is for kind of stain intent only. The species that we intend to use on the exterior is Douglas fir. Which has a little bit of a tighter grain, but that would be the approximate stain color.
The golden oak will be a little bit darker than that on that pine. Okay. Any more questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no more questions for the applicant, we will open up for public hearing or public comment,
No
excuse me.
comments.
All right, then I will close public comment. Board discussion. So Danielle, if you look at that neighborhood, it is a vast array of colors.
Yes.
I didn't know if you were getting to trying to
Well, I kind of.
offset that color or trying to complement that color, or because there's some
trying to
greens in
complement
that
that
neighborhood.
color.
and-
Just because they both are there, like
Mhm.
next to each other and on the road, like I feel like maybe they should be closer in color, but and I've been through that neighborhood, it's Mardi Gras.
I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah. Polite way to put it, right?
A lot of times too, if you can't match exactly, you want to have more contrast.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
I like does it look like something that we would have designed?
I agree.
Well,
The
it's almost a
canvas.
spitting image of the roll design.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It almost looks
concept.
like the one right here too.
Yeah.
Well, also too is what I like about it versus the other building that's currently there is that the dormer is much larger on this one.
Mhm.
So it's not as small, so it doesn't, it's even like the fire station that we had talked about, we wanted something to kind of break that roof up, but I think, it's not necessary on this because that dormer is a lot larger than the building next door. They're roughly going to be about the same size building and very similar architecture. Only differences I noticed in this one is that whereas the other building had shorter windows with transoms on top to match the height of the doors, these just have taller windows to match the heights of the doors, which I'm okay with on that one. So, but the bracket detail, the standing seam metal roof, I mean, the stone, stains and stuff like that, I think I don't know how much closer we really could have gotten to a rural design concept than that, right? So
We would have asked for.
okay, any, what else? Is there anything we're missing? You guys need to see that rendering again or?
No, I think it's great as is.
Okay. So that being said, no more discussion? So the next step would be, this is essentially a courtesy review, correct?
Yeah, that's a courtesy review.
Okay.
You can give them comments about the landscape.
Honestly, me
There's a
personally, I
landscaping.
think that it doesn't need a hefty landscape package. It's
Okay.
close proximity to the road.
Yeah, it's
There's-
very upfront.
Yeah.
right there.
This is something for me, I'm more concerned with the architecture being so prominent to the road that
You don't really want to.
I don't know if we necessarily, now, I'm assuming that they're not going to go in there and just put in some mulch and no bushes or anything like that, right? So,
They had some landscaping on there.
Yeah, so when I looked at it, I
it's
felt
coming
like
back
this
in front
one
of us,
was
right?
I was gonna
really,
say, because there's gonna be an LDP. It'll come
yes,
through.
there
okay.
will be separate landscaping plan coming to you.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't believe this presentation had the lighting on there, and I didn't get a chance to look at, oh, it did, okay. I would say if we can, I think the gooseneck is similar lighting to the other one. That would be the only suggestion I would say is that we just have something, maybe the lighting doesn't have to be the same color, but the same style, similar in style. And then that would help kind of tie those buildings together. But other than that,
Same as the building next door to it or across the street.
what are y'all's thoughts?
So I think they had this cone right only at the front door. They had this cones over here. Oh, yeah, all the front doors.
Mhm.
So where would the gooseneck lighting?
Just on the sides.
Yep.
Okay,
That would be for the sign, yeah.
okay.
You say side or sign?
Oh, I thought it was
Signage,
gonna
I
be on the
guess.
side.
No, I think that's just for the sign.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Are those the same lights, the parking lot lights, or those the same ones throughout that?
Yeah, it says two match
Match
existing, so. Okay. Anything else? So I'll make a motion. I think what you guys here have got here is good. You know, you've kind of done your homework. Good presentation, the samples have helped visualize. You've captured the rural design concept. And, you know, you've already been through the process of our staff architect. So got his approval, so that's a good thing. So I would say, well, we don't recommend approval, or we
Yeah, you can.
recommend approval.
Well, this is a courtesy, so.
Yeah. So
Come back.
anything to add to it, or just straight recommend for approval? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I will make a motion to recommend approval at this stage for the courtesy review.
I'll second.
All right. So we have a motion to recommend approval and a second. All those in favor? All right. It's unanimous. All right. Well, good luck. We'll see you in a couple months and go through this again. Thank you. Sorry.
Perfect.
There you go. All right, great. We are slowly moving away. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. So now we're going to move on to our final reviews. 8A, Chadwick Village Phase 2, Site and Landscape Review.
Right. This is, the applicant is Madison Rick, and this is for the property 13645 Arnold Mill Road, lot number 2 of a Chadwick Farm subdivision, Chadwick Village subdivision. Anyway, this is a final review of the site plan or LGP. This is a 4.11 acres site. Zoning is C1, community business. There is an overlay also here called Rural Milton Overlay. And currently this property is also vacant. Aerial view of the property. This is, as I said, this is a concept. This also has a history. The concept plan for this subdivision, Chadwick Farm subdivision, was approved. It was actually part of an agreement with the city and the property owner because they had gone through some rezoning in Fulton County, which was not codified, so there was some confusion. So city had to work with the attorneys, and there was an agreement between the property owner and the city, and this site plan was agreed upon based on that, in that agreement. And the lot one, they had some conditions that what lot one can have and what lot two can have. So lot one has a gas station, as you know. It has a gas station and convenience store, which is being built right now, pretty much complete. Lot two is going to have certain commercial footprint. There was a square footage limit on it. So it all meets square footage limit on it. I'm sure, I think it was June 2024. You have seen the buildings of those that are going to go on the lot two. So this is just a background information for you. So today we are looking at a site plan, a site and LGP plan, and this is an overall paving plan which shows parking, location of the buildings, and the pathways that are interconnecting all these buildings with the lot one's buildings. So all this connectivity things and all kind of impervious surface that you can see over here. This is a rendering that you have already, this building or design you have already approved in 2024. And this is just a sheet from the whole big set that they have. This is actually a grading and drainage plan, which shows the locations of the stormwater system. So pond 1, pond 2, pond 3, those are just the underground detention locations for this site. Landscaping plan shows, again, because the site plan was agreed upon in 2020, there was parking, they had to kind of follow the parking layout that they set it up there. There was really a minimum landscaping that they had agreed upon, and the major part was this buffer over here that they had agreed upon. So that is being maintained, and there was very limited landscaping that was agreed upon. So the only thing that the city is enforcing is some street trees over here in front along the Honor Mill. So that is being enforced right now. This is a part of a lighting plan. The package is really big. And so I just selected a few things to discuss today with you. I've looked at their photometric plan. It all meets, actually staff has reviewed the whole set and they are almost ready to approve it. There are just 3 minor comments the staff has given to them, which they can quickly turn around and address. And it is almost like 99% ready to go. So it's just waiting for your approval. If you have any questions, I can take.
I have a question for you, Shubha, is when we're looking at the landscape plan, the trees in blue are, and this has a plant schedule, which has the caliber on there, which is, I wish these other ones that came in there. Anyway, the ones in blues are the ones that are being planted with this lot 2, with this phase 2, correct? The ones in pink are the ones that are currently in place? Correct. Okay, cool.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to comment.
Yeah.
Please.
That was maybe a question for the applicant, but any questions real quick for Shubha? No? Okay. All right, take it away, sir.
Yeah, the pink are the ones that will be installed here shortly.
Okay.
The buildings are under construction. So, the blue are, those are what we're proposing in this phase 2. Like Shubha said, there's a lot of history to the site. And, through litigation and stuff, ended up with this site plan. And then, we've done phase 1. This is phase 2. And really, we're just trying to match what we did in phase 1 as far as landscaping, the look of it, the feel of it. and then stay within that agreement.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? No? All right. Thank you.
Trying to make it easy on you guys.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, you've got a good packet, right? So it's a lot more helpful when we have a lot more information to kind of review, instead of having to kind of ask a lot of questions. So, all right, seeing no more comments for the applicant, I will open up public comment.
There are none.
Seeing none, I will close public comment. Any discussion?
So is all the trees and the lighting and everything, those between lot 1 and lot 2, are those very similar? Okay, great.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Great. For some reason, I remember this and we had an issue with lot 1 and lot 2 not looking anything alike.
Well,
So-
because lot 1, if I recall, look, it was approved a while ago.
Yellow. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Yep.
And it wasn't something we would have maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as, so today we're looking at just the site plan, all that, the architectural design has been approved, correct? This is just specifically the site and landscaping, correct?
Yes, this is only site. And actually, Madison has been part of the Lot 1's site development. So he knows a lot
Okay.
that went into site 1, sorry, the Lot 1, that's gas stations
Mhm.
development.
Got it. Okay.
But they were two different owners, if I recall, right? Okay.
Originally, there was one owner, then they subdivided and they sold it off and things like that. So
Yeah, I can't imagine the neighbors at the landfill behind. They're too argumentative with this, so. Yeah, I think, you know, not necessarily, or not sure what the 3 minor comments were or whatever, but as far as the street trees goes along Arnold Mill, you know, I think that's sufficient, and the trees that they've got in the rear of the property as well. Where the parking's located, you know, all those things. I like how it's kind of hidden in the back. You don't necessarily see it really from Arnold Mill, or even for that fact from Chadwick Farm Boulevard, right? So it's strategically placed. So for me, I think that's a win as far as that's concerned. So I really don't have any problem with the site plan or the landscaping or lighting on this one. But that's why we have an open discussion. Anybody else? Okay.
I don't think so. No, I'm good.
All right. Then seeing no more discussion, how about a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the final review of Chadwick Village Phase 2.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Good luck. Thank you. All right, last but not least, thank you so much for your patience. 8B, Fifth Third Bank, building review, mural design.
Oh, my neighbor.
So the Fifth Third Bank came before you last year for architectural approval, and they are changing the exterior essentially. So that is why they are going through the process to request mural approval. Some general information, the applicant is David McKell, Site Enhancement Services. The request is for final review for proposed mural at the Fifth Third Bank. Location is 13794 Highway 9. The size is 0.87 acres. The zoning is T5, located in the Deerfield Form-Based Code overlay. And as I said earlier, it's an existing use as a Fifth Third Bank. Here's the aerial map going Highway 9. And the mural is on the north side of the building. And it's this little jut out here because they argue in their on their application that it's kind of, the door's kind of hidden is what they're saying essentially.
This was an existing like drive-through, wasn't it? It was a
Wendy's.
Yeah,
it was a Wendy's.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
You know, I was wondering about that. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was wondering about that originally. Like, there's no prominent front door. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so you can really see it from the aerial how it juts in, and my photos will show it as well. Some more background information. The applicant details in their DRB application that the requested mural is to notify motorists and pedestrians on site where the front entrance is, improve the architecture of the building while providing convenient wayfinding to the lobby. The proposed mural colors of forest green, Pantone 3435C, and fun green, Pantone 356C, meet Deerfield Form-Based Code permitted colors for exterior walls, building components, accents, and decorative elements. The proposed location of the mural is located on the north side of the building. They gave you two options. Here's option one. Here's a zoom in. And as I kind of showed from the aerial, this is in a jutted back area.
Where's the door?
Right here.
Side.
Yeah,
Side.
faces.
There's no
Yeah, it's recessed.
It's
and
catty
then you
corner,
have to go to the left.
essentially. My side photos will show up better.
Yeah.
Great. Here is option two. And here's a zoom in.
Can you explain the difference between both of those?
Yeah, so option one, you can see the welcome sign is here.
Okay.
And then there's little writing here.
They're here.
Yes. And then the difference is it's under welcome.
Okay.
Yeah. So option one, you can see the white font here and they basically just move it
Mhm.
over here under the welcome. Pretty small difference, but
Mhm.
two options nonetheless. Here's a site plan showing the location again on the north side. Some photos of the building. This is the view from 9. South side of the building. Rear side of the building. North side of the building. And here's the door that, as you can see, is catty corner to the wall.
Unfortunate.
I also took some photos from the Highway 9 sidewalk to give a view from pedestrians. Here's a straight on view. Just make my way going north. And you can see the mural will be kind of right here, essentially. The mural will be right here. That's as far as I went. Any questions for staff?
Thank you, Michael.
It might be
welcome.
for the applicant more than you, but is there any reason they chose green and not the blue that's in the third?
I suspect it was not a color that met Deerfield form-based code. Jackie was working on this before I took it over. Essentially, she gave a list of colors from the code, and they worked within their parameters that Fifth Third would approve, essentially.
Okay.
Yes.
Why is it coming to us?
Essentially, it's a change from the exterior, from what was
Okay.
approved.
Okay.
So it's a mural nonetheless, but it's
So it's not a sign because we don't do signs, right?
correct. It's not a sign.
Okay.
It's
So that green color, well, any other questions for Michael?
This is paint though that they're painting on, or is it?
yeah, paint and then
vinyl?
vinyl letters.
Vinyl
essentially.
letters, it says.
I'm trying to think, do we have many murals existing in Milton?
No.
I didn't think so.
Some people just put it on without asking.
That giant crabapple?
Oh.
I mean, it's funny. I don't consider this a mural. I consider this wayfinding.
Yeah.
I was thinking like
Signage.
compass,
Yeah.
but this actually.
So our code really defines sign as a structure, essentially.
Okay.
This was discussed
Yeah.
in depth.
No, but also they have used up all their sign privileges. So they, all the square footage are used up, so
Ah.
we can't give them any more
Okay.
signs.
So hence the word mural.
Right. Well, the common director have discussed our definition is actual a structure. And it's paint and vinyl is not structure. It's a mural is our interpretation.
Okay.
So a wall signage is considered structure if it's on the wall?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because it's 3D.
Essentially, yeah. Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Any other questions for Michael? Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. All right. You have anything to add to that or?
Hi there, my name is David Michael. I'm from Site Enhancement Services, 6001 NIMS Parkway, South Bend, Indiana. And the two options here, essentially, like Michael said very well, working within the color parameters. And then this design is consistent with all of the wayfinding inside of their corporate locations. So it's just kind of sticking with the brand. Employees are familiar with it. And I actually stopped by today
to get measurements of this wall, just in case it gets approved. Because we'll be also coordinating the installation of the mural. And as I'm getting the measurements, I actually had to show someone where the door was. So I'm kind of excited that that happened today, honestly. But yeah, we have two options here, and there are two materials that we are willing to go forward with. One is the paint, like you mentioned, and then the other option would be applying vinyl to the bricks. And I've actually gotten a certification in applying vinyl. So essentially what happens, a heat gun attached to a roller, you heat up the vinyl, you roll over and it punches it into the brick, the uneven surface, and then it essentially looks painted on. And then removal is much easier that way as well. So we're good with either of these designs. We were hoping to move forward with the vinyl option, just to cut down on costs, and it's also easier to remove, and it looks amazing. I've applied it inside these corporate locations all over the country, so it honestly looks painted on anyway. But yeah, those are those details that I want to just let you know. And if you have any other questions, I'm here for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. Is there one that lasts longer than the other? The vinyl or the paint?
I guess it depends. So there's an overhang.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, and it's set back, I'd say at least 4 or 5 feet. Paint vinyl, I think it's negligible. They're both going to last a very, very long time.
That was my question, is how weather resistant the vinyl was.
And not that this matters, but does the colors fall in line with the interior decor? I was just wondering, because you said it goes with the corporate, so it just made me.
Yeah, it was mainly gray walls, kind of, but I mean the furniture. I know there were some green chairs in there. They like to kind of zone off their portions of their corporate location, so they have all approved colors so that their wayfinding makes sense for how large these buildings are. But yeah, they had these designs for their corporate locations. They thought in a better way to help people get into the building, they'd like to kind of draw attention to the door and also say, hey, welcome in, here's the door. Right now they just have a piece of computer paper with the arrow pointing through the window. So
Did you get a permit for that?
It's interior signage. I don't know if that's required.
Yeah. So question for you, as far as, is that those colors, is that being modified to change to try and match the approved colors from the city, or is that those specific colors, are
part of the logo?
Yeah, part of the logo.
They're not part of the logo.
It's two different. You can kind of see it on here. It's like a gray blue.
Well,
But I
I gotta
think
get
that's what you're saying. Jackie had worked with them on approved colors, and these were.
Correct. Yeah. I think it was orange and blue originally, and then it
This
became
is a
green.
much better design.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very appreciative
We
of
can't have
your
modern colors in
allowed
Georgia, can
colors. Never saw
Was
that.
there a preference other than green that the bank had originally wanted?
No, they really just want to have a welcome sign because they're having a lot of complaints about people not knowing how to enter the building, which I know sounds, I don't know,
Green
but
does pop.
it can be hard to find the entrance sometimes when it's not obvious.
Yeah. Any more questions for the applicant?
And I do want to say you can't see it from the road, but it is set, but so if you have the option here where it's the welcome and enter here on the right side, I mean, you might be able to see a little bit of the mural, and then I don't even know if you'll be able to read the words on the wall anyway. So as far as offsite impact, unless you're on that side street, which you need to take to get onto the property, you won't even notice it from the road, especially with I can't remember what the speed limit was, but there's a lot of traffic there, so.
35.
Well, even from Michael's photos, it's kind of tucked back in there. It's
Is the white vinyl as well from that picture?
Correct.
So it goes from left to right, it goes green to white, so that the welcome isn't a separate vinyl?
Oh, no, it would be. So where the mural ends and then the words begin, those would be, each letter would be individually applied. Well, they'd be on their own backer. So welcome, enter here, and then the entire mural would go up as well.
Because the building's not white, right?
It's a
gray?
very light gray, yeah.
Is the green gonna look good next to the gray? I mean,
So, well, discussion, any more questions for the applicant?
I went to Michigan State, so you're, I don't know. I'm just
For
kidding.
this.
He flew in from Indiana today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
yeah, wow. Okay, thank you. All right, so going through the motions, public comment. Anyone back there? No? All right, I'll close public comment. I'm with you. I don't mind the mural, but I don't like the green.
Green's not my.
I get it that it,
That's why I asked, because Fifth Third Bank is blue.
I'm sorry, say again? Yeah, that's why I was
Just
kind of
want a
asking,
sign.
like, was this green derived from? Because I know like the Fifth Third, like little logo has a little small line of green around it.
Like blue and green. But it's predominantly blue. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think blue and white and maybe a little bit of green, kind of like
Yeah.
their logo.
Or maybe do like, see how it's dark green and light green, maybe do like, and then,
Rima, do you mind pull the
I don't
Pantone
know.
colors up?
Yeah, I was just gonna.
Yeah,
say
we're
Yeah,
gonna.
do you mind?
Yeah.
Options. This looks
the
kind of like a,
options are
you're
not
walking into a
plenty.
looks like you're
but there
walking into a
is-
Publix.
Do we need to change that?
Just kidding.
Well, we have,
So
I believe we have.
I know.
Those are the options for exterior colors, like the wall color. So we don't want to expand them too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
There's
But if you
no
look at the-
blues in the approved.
I think the other options were reds and browns, but I'm gonna see if I can pull up the.
But bear in mind too, this just has like the Pantone in it, right? So like Caribou Coffee, for instance,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's like the aquamarine blue, you know, and that's predominant on that building. Yeah, me personally, I don't see the mural as any issue, to be honest with you. But the green, man, I feel like that's doing that building and the exterior look of that a disservice, being that color. And I get it that we're trying to match that. So, but do we have the privy to say, hey, look,
Yes,
you can use a different color even
Yeah.
if it does not match the,
you can have, yeah, and you,
It's a limited portion of the.
Can you
building.
pull back up the exterior pictures of the building now?
So the permitted colors for exterior walls,
but this isn't a wall though, right? This is
It's
a,
a mural.
But it's
exterior
on the real
wall.
yeah.
Because it's not a sign.
yeah, decorative elements. We confirmed that. That's what the colors are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Decorative elements. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question real fast? So if we change the color though, do they have to go back to corporate for approval? I mean, does that lengthen this process for you?
I mean, you know how it is when you got to get something approved by a group of people, it can be opening a can of worms. But I will say that if we get colors that you are okay with, I can present that to them. They just want to get the mural up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fair.
Whatever
next
colors you
sentence,
guys need,
another-
put them on the wall. But
Otherwise,
yeah.
he has to stay here and direct everyone to the door.
Right.
I mean, yeah, depending on how the position pays, I'll be the
I mean,
one.
the-
Milton's very nice, I will say.
The blue color that's on the, whatever that separation
The, like,
is.
The water table down.
Yeah, the
bottom.
water
Yeah,
table.
Water table, I mean, if you.
Because that's
do like a-
painted,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Correct.
if you do that same color for that cutout and then the white, welcome, enter here, I mean, that would be bold enough and you're not changing colors then.
I agree. And then you could have the kind of design on there in white, right?
Okay, say that again.
Yeah, so if
So
you
what are
want-
you,
you're
what's
saying-
gonna be the?
All right, so
You're saying paint
Michael,
the
go back to
wall?
the existing picture if you don't
This
mind,
color?
please.
Just the green would become the blue.
Yeah, right
that's-
The blue, okay, the dark
Yeah,
green
but
would
you'd
be
need
blue
two blue.
for the,
You call if the dark blue is.
Yeah,
part of
isn't
the
the-
ones that you could do.
I don't
Okay,
think.
okay, we're-
Is this the only exterior picture?
Oh, no, we can flip over if you want to just see more.
Just one without a shadow?
Oh, of course. Oh, that's.
Yeah.
No,
is
no, no,
the-
go
is the
back, go
roof-
back, go back.
What color is the roof? Blue?
Go back one more
Looks
time.
no, it's all
Black.
gray, I believe.
No.
That right there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
a blue in the Fifth Third sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And is
Yeah,
that
but
trim
what-
black?
So that's
No,
already
it's
an
like a
approved
dark
color.
gray.
Almost black, I would say. It's maybe a little.
Like that
yeah,
post
yeah.
right there. What color is that post?
Well, that's the gutter, downspout.
I think
Yeah.
it's like a charcoal.
I love
Yeah.
the downspout.
So, but,
Iron ore.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, bronze, black.
I know dark, like earthy colors are, I believe, part of the Pantone family.
Mhm.
But I think the simplest route here, if we can't pull up specific colors, would be have him look into different color alternatives and come back. So
I mean, I would
Yeah, I don't know.
just don't change it. Just don't put another color on it. Just use the colors that are already there.
Currently on the building.
We want it to stand out though, so they can see it
Yeah, that's the other.
That's a
part.
good point.
for wayfinding.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the Pantone color options are greens for Deerfield Highway 9. So permitted colors for exterior walls, building components, accent, and decorative elements. You've got white, black, browns, beiges, and tans are the predominant colors they can select from. Then it would be the greens. There's only 2 gray colors, and then the rest are all reds.
Can we do it like the iron ore color with white?
Black would be, I mean,
But it's not standard, really, if we do that.
I mean, it's a huge contrast to the white wall, which I don't know.
what do you, which part of the mural would change to the iron ore?
The green.
The dark green or the light green?
I don't know.
I don't, honestly, I don't mind as much the dark. So
Can we flip it and make the light green the dark green and make the dark green the light green? Or is everybody just done with green?
Which one? This one?
so I think the consensus is we're okay with the mural. I think it's really the green. That's
It's the colors. What if they did blue, which is in their Fifth Third signage?
Yeah, but then, well, we can dictate that.
I think
Well, I'm
what
just
Remo-
asking,
it's
is
just not-
that?
Yeah, I think Remo's saying blue was not an option from the.
yeah, blues
Yeah,
are
it's
not
not
even
in
on.
Yes, but I believe you said that
So-
we could dictate it.
Can we recommend that? Yeah.
What do you think?
They can tell us.
Okay,
They
Yeah.
they like blue, they can tell
okay, all right.
Michael, if we want pink.
I think it's this picture. I drive by this place 2 or 3 times a day,
Yeah.
and it doesn't look white and
Well,
gray
it's a
like this.
darker, that doesn't look white. It's like a light gray.
It is, it's like.
Are you talking about this elevation?
The
photo?
field paint for the brick.
Like
It's
here?
not really
Yeah,
a
that
white.
looks-
It's like a
See, that looks
darker.
different than our.
It
So-
looks white on their packet.
Yeah.
I believe the only thing in color really is the mural on this elevation. These colors on the brick colors here on this drawing specifically are not accurate. This is more of a black and white grayscale drawing with the mural put on top.
So let's start with this. Option A or option B?
I like B.
Option B?
Okay.
I like A.
A?
Wait, which one's A and which one's B?
Which one's in front of each other? I just.
I like the
first option.
welcome and the enter here together.
That's what I
Okay.
like too.
That's B.
That's B, yeah.
Yep.
I like A because enter here is closer to the door.
I agree. And I
But it
feel like
doesn't matter.
it being white on the paint pops
Yeah.
a little more than,
That's true too.
Maybe flip the mural, the painted part to the right and put the welcome enter here closer to the door. Oh, but then you're driving in.
That's
from-
right.
Mhm.
You're gonna see it at different angles. So that's why I thought it's nice to have a welcome and then a enter here.
yes, it's 2 separate messages as
Yes.
opposed to one.
think that,
They should have just made an exterior door.
well,
Sorry.
The Wendy's, yeah.
yeah.
I know. if they
I
would've
like
just
the
cut-
concept of revitalizing existing buildings,
Right.
you know, but obviously from a cost perspective. So seeing that it's tucked away, very difficult, it's going to solve a problem, and it's not like this giant mural on the front of this building. And the Pantone color is an already approved color of the city of Milton.
I mean, I get it. Green's the color of money.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. It's gonna be so hidden.
Yeah, so I think I would say for that, I'm okay with it.
And technically the roof can be green, so according to.
But it's not though.
I think the welcome and enter here, if they're together, at least they will get red, because the enter here get lost into that.
That's what I
colors.
think too, is that
So you
enter
like
here
them
gets,
together.
it's too busy.
Do you guys like the evergreen more than the fun green, it sounds like, or the forest green, excuse me?
I was like, what's the fun?
Fun green is the
Yeah, it's the
lighter
darker
green.
Oh, that's not
Would you
very
want him
fun.
to,
So that was what I was gonna suggest, is maybe we just flip it.
That's what I.
We just roll with it, we flip it to where the
Dark
more
green is the
prominent
dark.
color is a little bit darker, subtle green. And the so PMS 365 or 356C is switched with PMS 3435C. Right?
Love it. Love it.
And now which option?
You say love it?
yeah.
We're trying to help you, man.
Yeah.
You didn't think you'd have to fly in from Indiana and have to go through this, did you?
This is fun.
I bet. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's one of my thoughts that I had, so.
That works for me.
Because at the end of the day, this is a city business. We've got citizens that go there, obviously need help trying to find the door. You know, it's not a big sign. The vinyl can be removed if necessary, if
Yeah,
needs to.
that's, I do like that.
You know, it's not a permanent structure.
Is the parking lot already painted?
Yes.
So which option then, A or B?
Maybe.
We got, you said A,
I said A.
A, B.
B.
I think B. I forgot which one was.
So
Is it
stacked
A
or
and A?
separate, I guess, is what you could say.
Stacked.
So we've got two A's, two B's, do this.
We just
The
named it
tiebreaker.
that.
So, this is A, right?
It really, I mean, that's
There's A.
either way.
That's A, yeah, that's B.
Right, this is A,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this is B.
yeah.
Okay.
So let me ask you this then, is I guess since I'm the deciding factor, is if you put that vinyl on, then the enter here is gonna be on that roll of vinyl. It's not gonna be a separate letters, correct?
Correct.
So my only concern is with that vinyl, and you correct me, is if it's such small letters with an arrow trying to go on brick. We didn't even discuss the size of these.
It's gonna be.
Is it
like-
going to be more funky to where the welcome is a lot larger, to where you just put the enter here all on one piece of vinyl and then the welcome on another piece, right? I mean, I'm asking actually is.
Can you say that one more time? I'm
I
sorry.
think they're all individual letters, right?
So no,
No, that will
But
be
you would do
printed
a
on
you would do a
one.
vinyl wrap that essentially has that whole design on it for the whole left side, and then the welcome would
Yes.
be one vinyl
yeah,
wrap.
it'd just be a rectangle. Welcome. Take the background, put it
Mhm.
on there.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Okay.
Peel it away.
So then for that, I think, was that option A or B? A was with the enter here in the whole green, right?
In the middle.
Yeah, this is
Correct.
A. This is
Yeah.
A.
B is separate.
B is two. B
I'm
is
gonna go
together.
with A.
You like this one?
I do, yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, A.
It breaks it up into two separate messages.
Yep.
That's
Just-
what my thing is.
Nice. Okay. What do we think?
So we're reversing the color pattern on the mural
Mhm.
and we're
would you have
choosing
the welcome?
option, the first option. A. It doesn't say A, but
Well,
On
enter
the-
here is
Yeah.
in with the full color spectrum.
that's right.
And welcome is separate by itself.
Would you keep welcome the same green, or would you flip that also?
I'd be okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're just flipping the left side.
How big of an issue for that, or for you, is that to go
None,
back and?
none at all. Probably just by chance that it wasn't already flipped.
Yeah. Okay. What do we think?
I'm not making that recommendation.
I'm not either.
Well, it's a motion for approval, right? You want me to try it?
Fuck.
All right, I will make a motion, or first, any further discussion? No, seeing none. I will make a motion to approve the mural for Fifth Third Bank with the conditions of reversing the color palette from the proposed, opposite of what is proposed, with the darker being the more prominent and the lighter being the less prominent. The enter here and an arrow shall be on that same large mural or colored mural, and welcome to the side by itself in that same PMS 356C color. So motion to approve with those modifications.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous.
So the welcome is the darker color, just to confirm?
No, the welcome is staying as
Staying as the
proposed.
light.
It's on
Yes.
green, okay.
Yes, correct.
Great.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you, sir, for traveling to Milton, Georgia. Good luck with the mural. All right. Moving on, 9, new business, A, seeing none. 10, old business, none. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.